Right, in this clip I'm going to show you how to sail a boat within your toy box. What I've done here is I've had a small block for the terrain, and I've created some palm trees with a pier hanging on the edge. I've then used some basic shapes which I'm going to be using as the sea, and I'll show you how I get those in my toy store. So if I get my tools back up, and if I just go back to Simple Toys, you'll notice the basic shapes. Now I don't tend to use this, and I was watching somebody else's toy box they made and realised these can be quite handy. But as you'll see, I've got a basic shape and I've just platted this around, and this is what I'm going to use as the sea. And you'll see I've dropped these objects on. You'll also notice though that I've also left a gap at the bottom so I can see through the ground, and this is vitally important for when I show you we use the path tool. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to my Toy Origins, and in my various toys that I have, as you'll see, scroll through, which is in the takeover toy box. Find the one, where's the toy box? Get there in the end. There we go, we got the boat. This is when you unlock the first level, you've got to complete all the objects on here. But I've got this boat here, which I'm just going to place down in our toy box. And this is the one that we're going to sail, and I'm showing you how we'll set that up. So if I just line that up where I want it roughly on the pier, and you'll see it sits on top of the grid that I've got. I'm quite happy with that. I think I'll just leave it there and click it in. So that's now into place. Now obviously I'm going to want this closer to the pier, but I left the gap on purpose so I can line this up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a route where I would like this ship to sail. And this is using this path tool. And I have to say, this is probably the most important tool that's been created. And you'll see by any of my other clips, I use this all the time. And I've got a couple more ones that I've shown you how to use doors. But I'm just going to get this the path tool. And it's quite a handy little option. Now obviously a boat doesn't sail on top of the water, it sails underneath the water. So actually just lining this up so I'm hopefully got the halfway distant point so I can get it so the boat will come exactly down the side of the pier. I'm just having a rough guess. If that's my halfway point, I'm just going to then move it across. So I'm not too bad actually. I'm about pretty much, that line is where the line is, probably about halfway. So move it across a little bit more. Yeah. Probably over there. Now obviously I want to be below the water, so I'm going to be below the water line because boats don't sit on top of the waves, they're right in the middle. So I'm just going to click this in, and now I'm going to create a journey around the island that this ship is going to sail. One thing you'll notice now is I'm going to do this on purpose. I'm going to lift the dot up and down, still just keeping it below the water surface, but you'll see I'm going to, so it looks like the boat is riding on waves. I'm going to lift it slightly a little higher, and then I'm going to drop it a bit back down. I'm just going to keep clicking to a little bit higher on there, but making sure I don't go over the top. Now you can play around with this and you can create your journey. So again, it's basically the up and down, basically the rocking of the waves. Too close, it will go like a yo-yo, but you can play around with this. And it's just a very crude method with this particular island that I've done. And I thought I'd try something different as everything's Star Wars at the moment, but as we go across here, probably that back up. Now, like I was saying, this tool is quite impressive, but I'm just going to plot it going around and keep moving it up and down. And some of the toy boxes I've downloaded in the within the game are phenomenal. What people have been creating, and I've been having a look at what they've been doing and just trying to pick elements out to show you guys what to do. So far, I haven't seen anyone do this, but again, just so you can sail in the ship. So again, keep it up and down, making sure I'm going up and down between the two. And this little demo has come around, the boat's going to sail round, and then I can join the route all the way through. So just put around, I've got roughly trying to line it up roughly, get it a bit close, that'll do. Click on there, fine, I'm happy with that. I think that is my journey around the island set. So now I can do that. You left that gap so I can see my pathfinder tool. If I couldn't do that, I couldn't see the option I've got. So I can now click into that option, go down to my properties, and I can go down and say, right, it is on, it is active, and I also want to make sure that it's looped. Yeah, I've got it auto starts. Let's go back up to my looped option and make sure that it connects and goes all the way around the island. I'm happy with the speed. Yeah, You can switch it active on and off. I will leave it so it's on. But again, you've got various settings you can choose. And you can play around with the speed sights. I've shown other clips using this particular setting on here, but I'm quite happy with that. That now has got my journey set. Right, and I'll set that. I think I've got everything I want on that setting. The main one I use with the Pathfinder is either loop it or do a start and stop. So I come all the way back out. So that there is my path. Right. What I'm now going to do is go back to my toys, and I'm going to create 2 buttons. Now I've shown this with the Crash Star Destroyer clip, but you need to configure these before you link an object to the path. That's the first mistake that most people tend to do. So on this button, I'm going to go on here, right, press the button, new logic connection. When you press that button and point down to the little gap that I've got there in the corner, go to my path tool. I can just reach it. Right, sometimes the angle's not correct, but it's a good job you left a gap in the arm. So I'm going to go to that part, and when I press that button, what I want to do is I want to reset it and stop the actual object. So I now go back up to the other button. I want to press this one. I want the ship to sail on its merry way. So click onto there. When you press that logic, so like I say with the wand, trigger it onto the object and press the square button. I'm now going to click onto the Pathfinder tool there, and I'm going to say, right, what I'd like you want you to reset and play. So we've now got our boat on its journey, so that will link us when we start those 2 buttons. Now what I do is I point to the boat, and I now go into a thing and create a new path locator for that object. So on that path tool, I'm now going to link back. So I've clicked the boat, went to the option and path creator, and I'm going to link that boat to that toolpath, and it now joins on the boat, and it now follows the thing around the ship. And if you watch, the boat will raise up and down as if it's going through the waves, right? But also, which is always annoying, it's sticking to the same way around. It's not moving with that particular object. Yeah, same issue when we do other ships. So what I need to do now is I need to highlight the boat. I need to go to the path creator option that we've done. I need to go to the toy box path, and I need to go to properties. And in there, for this particular object, I need to make sure it's along the actual path, which is fine. But it's with the boat, for some reason, it doesn't do this. It doesn't go that straight way. So what we're going to do here is, you can switch it on and off, but you notice it didn't change much. But there is a rotation with the boat. Find the rotation. If I change it 90 degrees, I think it's 90. I think 90 is the route. That will now follow the line of the path. Most ships, as soon as you put orientation on it, it will automatically match. But the boat one, I have to rotate it. But if you look now, the boat rocks and leans and goes up and down with the waves, sinking up and down within the sea. It looks quite a cool effect. Right, so now that I've got the boat going round, which is looking good, I'm now going to fill in the gap that I haven't done earlier. So I'm going to go back down to my simple items. I'm going to go back across and pitch my flat little tab squares. Right, now obviously I can't put it while the boat's going through because it's sunken through the water. Yeah, so what I'll do is wait just the boat goes past, and then I'll fill in those particular gaps. But one thing I wasn't aware of, and I may have mentioned this in one of the other clips, is that the basic shape tools, which is not something I was using that regularly, but the basic shape has a lot more patterns available to them than the terrain, and therefore you can only do 4 options. So now I've got my ocean filled in, but it's all looking like brickwork. I'll make it a little bit wide. I don't think I made it wide enough for the boat, so let's just move that all across so it's got nothing hanging over the edge. So as you'll see now, it goes across the way. That's better. So I'll just make this wider here on the screen. Now there are other tricks you can do with this, but I mean this is just to give you the idea of how to get the boat sailing through. Right, so I've got my boat on the ocean. I'll just fill those backdrops in. Right, so now we've got the boat on, which is all looking good. What we'd like to do now is change the wooden blocks into actual water. So if I go up onto here, I'm going to point to one of these blocks, press my triangle this time, not for the properties, and I've got much more styles than I have on any terrain. So there's a lot more different things you can do, which I was more impressed with. So I'll scroll across here, and I can never find it, by the way. I always find it, mate. Always pick the wrong one. But there is, where is it? Back I go, water. There is a water effect. So if I click water, click on there. But if I press triangle and say yes to all, it'll actually do all the shapes. It doesn't do my land, but changes all of them into water. So we now have my ship sailing away on the boat. If I take my wand off, press the stop button, the boat is now harboured, docked inshore. There's my boat, all ready to go on my island. I can now go across. I want to go and sail the 7 seas, so I go up onto the pier. The boat's already leveled up. Press my start button. The boat starts to sail away. I can jump up, get on quick, and away we sail. And the boat will rock, and the characters will stay on the island. Which is not too bad. And I can climb up to it. The whole thing tilts and acts, and while it sails on its journey. Probably should have used Jack Sparrow character to advertise this, but there you go. Your ships are sailing. Hope you find this clip of use and see if you can do it. I've got another clip because obviously when you jump off, you want to not be able to jump into water. So I was going to show you another clip how that when you do jump off, you drown and die. So look out for that one. Hope you enjoy this. Cheers.